Yes. All right. How I'm looking. All right. Let's groove out for a few seconds real quick. What's up? What's up? What's up? I got my tea ready. I'm about to get ready for a great show. We are back. We are back. Let me wave to everyone in the building. All right. Welcome to another episode of We Need Each Other podcast, episode 21. As we do all the time, I'm going to get my gracious host in the building. This is going to be a great show. Let me see. Except. Peace and blessings to you. This is going to be an awesome show. I feel it. I feel it. Give a warm round of applause as my host comes in the building.
Wait. We get ready.
So real quick, I'm giving an intro. Let's give it up for my host, the lovely, the glorious, the knowledgeable, the intelligent, Miss Kayla Marie. Drum roll, please. Miss Kayla. Boop, 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 boop.
Good evening, everyone. How we doing?
Oh man, I feel the energy already. It's gonna be an awesome show.
Wait. Okay, yeah, it is gonna be an awesome show.
You look awesome, girl. You good? You look awesome.
Gracias. I love your scenery. You're so at peace. The outdoors. Tell them where you at.
Oh yeah, I had to go come visit Mom Dukes. I had to come out to the lovely state of Georgia, breathing some great air. Had to leave the toxicity of New York City. And it just feels like that, just kind of get to that, you know? Like, you need that every now and then. What's up? How you feeling?
I am feeling amazing today. I'm feeling really, really good. I am excited for this episode. I'm going to let you lead, but I'm really excited for this episode, and I'm going to put in my input, you know? How we do? How you feeling?
I feel awesome. As you know, this is my happy place. Anytime I leave New York for my little hiatus, I always feel really awesome. It kind of brings me back to that place of stillness, and not like Mom's house, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't lived with my mom since I was about 18 years old. So whenever I come out to come visit her, I get that warm, that beautiful, heartwarming love that my inner child needs. So.
Now your inner child and your peace and your mind needs your peace of mind.
Yeah, yo, shout out to everyone who's pulling up so early. Hearts and waves to y'all.
Everyone.
So real quick, to start out the show, I want to do something that I do usually when I'm training like for a class, just kind of get the stillness of mind. So the topic of the show is just basically the power of the mind. You are what you believe you are. In a way of just still in the mind, just kind of get to your greatest version of yourself. So I want to invite everybody live and whoever sees this on the replay to just join us in a brief breath exercise. We're just going to breathe in really deep. We're going to hold it for about 3 seconds. And then we're going to breathe out. We're going to breathe in really deep, hold it for about 3 seconds, and breathe out. We're going to do that about 4 times. And then we're going to jump right into our prayer and get this started. All right?
Okay, sounds great.
Right, so first, we just got to just sit up tall, sit up straight. Real quick, shake it out real quick.
Hey.
All right? Just trying to get the stillness of mind, kind of bring us back to that point of gratitude. And just regulate our breathing. So you're going to do it at your own pace. So but you're going to just breathe in, like I said, hold it for 3 seconds, then breathe out. Just do it about 4 times. Whenever you're ready, just take your breaths in. Breathe in. And then you just slowly breathe it out. Find your stillness, find your peace. Let's breathe in. Breathe out. Take about 2 more. You know, just take time with yourself. It's all right to just take a break. You know, whatever can wait, just can wait for a second. Let's just breathe in. And just 1 more. Just breathe in, hold it for a few seconds, and just take time with yourself. 1 big breath. And then slowly release it. While we're in this zone right now, I just want to thank you for this beautiful podcast. Thank you for the opportunity to touch the people. We don't take for granted that we can just have our internet and turn on our Instagram app and just broadcast to the people. We thank you for this platform that we're given to touch the people in a beautiful way. Thank you for everyone who's going to see this, whether on the live or the replay. We thank you for their energy. And we thank you for their input. And I ask you, God, to just guide our mouths and our hearts so we speak out of love and not out of fear, and we can carry this conversation in the most beautiful way. And once again, we thank you for the collectivity of everyone that has anything to do with this, whether a guest, whether people who call in, whether people who just wishing us great wishes. We thank you for it all, and we don't take this time for granted, and we're truly grateful for this time.
In the mighty name of Jesus, amen.
Say that. Say that. I think that's a great way to start off the talk.
I think I want to meditate before every episode. That felt good. There's nothing like connecting with your mind, body, and soul.
Why not? Why not? Why not? So that it was just perfect to kind of go with this show. We was just brainstorm, just the power of the mind, how beautiful that can be. And this show aligned in so many different ways, from the conversations that we was having earlier this week, from the exercise that you had given me. We'll kind of go into that a little later, but it was a lot of things that kind of lined up for this episode to take place, and I think it was a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It definitely aligned with all the topics that we have been covering lately, and the side conversations. Everything is just coming together so beautifully. So, and, you mentioned something. You said the power of the mind can be a beautiful thing, but it also could be a destructive thing if you don't know how to control your thoughts. So that's why it's so important to take control, to know that you have the power. God and you have the power of your mind and your thoughts. So let's jump right in.
Once again, shout out to everyone who's pulling up to the chat. Someone's going to see it. I see your mom just joined. I have to
see my mama. Hi, Mom.
What's up? How you doing? One quote that came to mind, I think it's relative. I had a quote. I said, your mind is not trained to look for solutions if you don't want the help. You don't want the help. I think once you kind of decide that you're either looking for solutions or I'm looking for the way out, your brain starts to find things to kind of go towards that. But if you don't if you haven't even decided that I need help or I have a problem or I want to get out of this, your brain doesn't look for evidence of that. Your brain doesn't even see it. So it's like the solution or the person that you need can be right in front of your face, but you won't even recognize it because you haven't even accepted that this is what I'm looking for. So I don't know why I got that quote from. I say your mind is not trained to look for solutions if you don't even want the help. So
that's a really good quote. Wow. That is so, isn't it crazy how powerful, like, it's like almost when someone is like, I can't do this, and you're right behind them, like, I literally see that you're almost there, keep going. And they keep saying, I can't do it. They already convinced themselves, and it's almost like they shut out completely. And it's like that quote that you can't help those who don't want to be helped. So that's the same. That also applies to us too. Wow. Absolutely.
So I had a couple quick questions for you, which you're going to just shoot real quick as we always kind of start.
Little icebreaker.
Little icebreaker. First things that come to mind. Don't think about it too much. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm gonna shoot them to you. You're gonna shoot them right back at me. Ready?
Sounds good.
All right. Very quickly. Oh, well, we don't have to say very quickly because it is about peace. We can take our time. Right. Whatever. Favorite place to be in the world?
My favorite place to be in the world is in Astoria. Why? Because near Astoria Park. That is where my grandfather's ashes lay, and that is the place that I feel most at peace. That is the place that I could get my thoughts right. My soul feels happy. So I travel the world, but nothing beats being in Astoria.
I love it. All right, most peaceful.
You.
We'll do it. My favorite place to be in the world. Honestly, right now, my mom's house. Right here. As of right now, this is my favorite place to be in the world because it's the culmination of a lot of things. Culmination of beautiful, peaceful environment. The love for my mom that I've actually been needing. And it just symbolizes a lot for me. It just symbolizes kind of home in some kind of way.
Yeah, the scenery alone looks amazing.
I'm telling you, just waking up to birds chirping and seeing stars at night is something beautiful. So that's my favorite place to be. The most peaceful person you know?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the most peaceful person I know is my grandmother. Like, I can go to her for anything, whether I'm happy, sad, angry, disappointed, and she's always at peace. And it's almost like that peace transfers to everyone else who's connected to her. And of course, she's human. So, we all go through ups and downs, and we all go through our own issues. But she's always so positive and at peace. The most peaceful person I did know was my grandmother. She passed away last year.
but I kind of want to just bring her up in this conversation just because what she symbolized. This lady had a way of not only diffusing problems, but just making something that seems really, really big seem so careless. Like she said, have a saying when she say, "Let it be," or like you asked her, she's like, "Come see, come side." Like everything was kind of everything was just very, very cool. I'm great. So if I would have to say the most peaceful person that I know was also my grandma.
And nothing like grandma's love, that's for sure.
Okay, let's get last time you were truly upset. The last time you were truly enraged, like, and what got you there, and last time you was truly losing your wits.
Well, I think my sister's on. She's gonna have to help me with this one. I really, because when I'm pissed, like honestly, my sister has saved a lot of lives. Because when Ayla comes out, I go to Jasmine. Last time, I really can't remember. Last time I was like really, really upset. Honestly, I really cannot remember. I don't want to just say, oh, like in my last relationship and an argument. I don't want to say something like that because that's been such a long time ago. I truly can. Of course, I've had my moments where I'm like, oh, upset for a few minutes or disappointed or whatever. But to be truly upset where Shayla comes out, like if you guys don't know me, my name is Kayla, but when I'm mad, I'm Shayla. Shayla has been tucked in for a minute. I really.
What about the time you got upset at me? Was that the last time?
Oh, you know what? I was like in the middle. I think I was like half Kayla, half Shayla. But you almost took me to Shayla.
You know what? I don't think we could do this anymore. You know, I don't want to be a partner. That's okay. It's okay. All is forgiven. All is forgiven. But just like you said, I couldn't really imagine last time I got upset. What I was going for with that question, just like the ways that we kind of diffuse it as well. I don't remember the last time that I really got upset. It probably, and I don't want to say the last time, but it wasn't enraged, but it was just, I remember when we was talking, it was an inability to kind of hear what I was saying. And I was upset because I was like, you don't get it. You probably said the same thing like, Josh, you don't get it. You don't see it from my side of the.
Oh, you know I wanted to choke you out. You know that.
Yeah, I'm glad we are in different states. It would have been hot. I remember we didn't talk to each other for like 3 days. You called me like 3-4 days later. I was like, yo, something must be wrong. But yeah, so that so I had let me see. I know you have your favorite person to be around. We can hit that.
That's a hard question because
I know your mom. I know your mom and your sister's on, so you want to be nice. It's okay.
No, but honestly, like I love being around my family, like my mom and my sister. My mom, my sister, and my grandmothers when I visit the Caribbean. So I can't just pick one.
Okay.
And
I have a cousin.
And Romeo. He's a little.
Yo, he counts.
Absolutely.
Romeo's her son, her dog. For the people who don't know, her son.
My child. Thank you.
And then the last question that you had given to me, I think that was.
Wait, no. Who's your favorite person to be around?
I have a cousin named Zarek.
Derek.
I have a cousin named Zarek. He's like I would like to say like my young understudy. He not only absorbs information, but he's also in the process where he's learning how to assert himself. So I'm learning how to teach. I'm teaching him how to express himself, and I'm listening equally, as him being receptive to what I have. And it's a great balance, and it's always a point of like fellowship when we get together. So he's really like my favorite person in the world as of right now. Man. Shout out to my cousin C. What's up? What's up, Dolly? How are you? I see people from my job jumping in. How are you? What's up, girl?
Hey, Pam.
Okay, so you had this one question that you said it was really beautiful. I think you were growing up. What's something that you said to yourself over and over and over again until you actually believed it? What is those words of affirmation that you need to hear as a child, like that you had to say until you believed it, girl?
I don't think that I needed to hear it because I heard it. I kept on just saying it to myself as reassurance, more so for myself, right? And more so for it to continue help building my character and my confidence. It's just simply saying like, you are enough. Like you got all the tools that you need. Like God made you the way that he made you for this reason. Like you don't need anything else. You have everything right in front of you. So I know that was more than one. All of the above.
That's cool. It's important that we say those things to ourselves. I remember, I don't know as a child, but I give you one as a grown adult, I had a moment where I looked in the mirror and I said to myself, you are beautiful, right? And I thought saying the words are beautiful reserved for women, and like men didn't say that to ourselves. We kind of said like, we usually as men don't say, look in the mirror and be like, yo, you're handsome.
Right.
Or we don't affirm ourselves in that kind of way. And I heard it from like my mom, but I remember as I was getting older, I said to myself, I really was admiring myself. And I think it was also a testament to my growth when I started really working on myself and I started admiring the way that I was, not only aesthetically, but I was saying I'm beautiful, but I'm just a beautiful person.
Right.
And I think that I had to say that to myself over and over again until I actually was like, yo, I actually believed it, you know. And even now, we all still struggle with that, but that's something that I literally, every time I take a shower, I'll be like, yo, you gorgeous, man, you. I'll be like, you know, But nah, it's important to say that to ourselves.
Oh,
yeah. Just in terms of, just affirm myself in a beautiful way and get our mind in the right way. I saw a video from J. Cole a little earlier today. I'm paraphrasing.
Love him.
He was like, yo, you got to get something in your mind and just believe it. And he said, get to the highest point of belief. And he said, once you're at that highest point of belief, you want to take it up a little further than that. And he said, it was a point in my belief system where I didn't even allow my mom to tell me that I couldn't do it or something like that. So you have to elevate your mind to the point that you actually believe in yourself. You're actually loving what you're bringing to the table. You're loving your value, whatever your dream is. You have to hold that and then understand that that's what that's what your mind is going to follow.
Absolutely.
Your mind is going to follow. So when you tell yourself those things over and over again, or you actually believe I can do it, or actually have the vision in my head, the power of the mind just kind of follows that. And I think that's like, it was bars. I think I'm about to take that video and repost it on the story.
Yeah, repost it. I love J. Cole. That man is just. But that reminds me of the phrase "fake it till you make it." I used to do the phrase so much. I'm like, I'm not faking shit. Like, no, I'm gonna be myself. But it's almost like when you're affirming yourself, that it, in a sense, is faking it till you make it, because you're like, well, I'm a great wife. I'm a great businesswoman. I'm a great mother. Even if you're not in that role yet, you keep telling yourself that. So when you enter that role, and when those blessings come, you know how to manage them because you prep yourself for them. Make it till you make it is not a bad phrase to use. It just depends how you use it.
Absolutely. I want to just remind everyone, there's an option here on Instagram where you can actually put questions in. So if y'all have questions, y'all can either put them on the screen, or I think there's a box with like a question mark, so you could just put them in. And if you have something that you want to just say on the topic, I'm just going to just looking for the questions as they come in, or the comments as they come across, and you could just join the conversation at any point. This is something that we think that the community needs. The first thing that I had in front of that talk, I think it's like one of the most important things in terms of getting control of your mind. I just said, spend time with your mind, taking inventory, understanding stillness, relieving anxiety, moments of peace. And also putting quotations. I said, if you can't sit in quiet with your mind, you are not at peace. So some people find it hard to even just sit in silence for too long, because maybe it's the things that are in their mind that are troubling, that they don't know how to turn off. But the first thing in terms of training myself, in terms of good health, in terms of understanding the power of my mind, was learning how to sit, learning how to be. That's sort of just like prayer, sort of like what we did at the beginning of the show. And I thought that that was important to start it out like that. Every once in a while, or every day, or make it a ritualistic thing of spending time with your mind. But I think that's the building blocks in terms of the power of the mind. Everything else is built onto that. If you can't quiet your mind, or if you can't even allow yourself to kind of be still for a second, it's hard to put away all the negative thoughts or put better stuff in your mind, because it's almost like, on a religious, spiritual sense, you can't hear the voice of God, because you're so clouded by suggestions, clouded by what this person said, what that advertisement said, what this negative belief, what this person said about you. So just stillness of the mind.
That's so true. Absolutely. You know, I've noticed that some people don't even, or can't even, enjoy their own solitude. And it makes me super sad for them, because you're literally at war with yourself. You can't run away from yourself. You can't run away from time. You can't shut it off unless you're sleeping. So like you said, sit. That's how you know. That's why I always tell people, do you like you?
Woo!
Like, forget about other people liking you, like romantically or as a friendship or a business, whatever. But do you like you? Because if you don't like me, I love myself. I love hanging out with me. Like, I love myself. So, but some people can't do that. They can't sit in silence. They don't enjoy it. They always want to be around people because they don't enjoy their own solitude. And it's because they're at war with their mind. And again, like you said, spiritual level too. Like, now that you mentioned that, there's a scripture that I saw here that I really, really liked. It was Romans 12:2. It says, we live out God's, show that we live out God's will when we change our thoughts to God's thoughts rather than living like the world dictates. And I was like, whoa.
One more time. One more time, please.
So it says, so it's Romans 12:2. Shows that we live out God's will when we change our thoughts to God's thoughts rather than living like the world dictates. So it's almost like not needing validation from other people as long as you have validation from God and yourself.
So, yo, you summed it up. The scripture summed up everything I was saying perfectly.
Yes. I saw when I came across that scripture earlier, and I was like, ooh, this goes perfect with our topic tonight. Okay, God. But it's true.
Yeah, I forgot to put the topic when I start this live. For those people who are just joining in, we're talking about the power of the mind.
Can I type?
We're talking about you are what you believe you are.
I think
power of the mind, you are what you
believe. Type it and pin it, right? I'm not sure.
we can do that. Let me just type that in real quick. Power of the mind. So
you are. Yeah, I found that to be super, super powerful because, like you said, it all comes down to a spiritual level, and it comes down to you believing who you are through God's eyes or through other people and the world's eyes. You know, that
love it.
Whether you're going to be at war with yourself or you're going to be at peace with yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So even taking it like even deeper, right? So I remember about sometime last year, I did some research on just the mind and how brain waves kind of work, because I was really getting into meditation, and I want to understand the difference between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and things that, and we kind of talked about it in our earlier talk. We were saying there were certain things that were implanted in your head when you were a child, from the times of maybe 1 to 7. A lot of those things that are just have been hammered in our head, those are things that are driven in our subconscious even as we're an adult. And we don't understand sometimes why we think a certain way, why we have certain beliefs, because these things were just embedded. If someone told you you ain't nothing, you are stupid, you're gonna be just like your dad, or especially if the dad wasn't a nice person, right. Or if someone says you are the most beautiful thing I know, or my mom used to say you are my fudge baby, I love this, I love that, I love that. These are things that help us stand up taller as we're older. But these are things even deeper that are not something that we consciously think. These things are ingrained in who we are. And as I was doing my research, it was saying that when you're a child, you're programmed through basically those auto suggestions and everything that's basically inputted in you, right? And then when you get older, after the age of 7, you start to use your conscious mind more. So literally, when kids they actually play make believe, and they have this broom, and they really think it's like something they can fly with. Their imagination is like running wild. Their imagine, yeah, they're in this they're using a certain kind of brain waves where they believe the things that you tell them, and they actually can make believe so much more because they're not even thinking with their conscious mind. They're thinking with a lot of their subconscious mind. And basically, when we get older, we think we're more in my conscious mind. And the way to now change your subconscious mind, they say now, is through repetition. That's how we now change our programming in, through repetition, or going into prayer or meditation. Some people use like even hypnosis and all that, but they're actually going to the subconscious mind. So there's when we're I don't want to cut you off. You want to add to it? Go ahead.
Now you're digging deep when you're doing the repetition.
You're going into a whole another level of things that you can't even control. So once again, if you wake up every day and you go in the mirror and you look at yourself, you say, yo, look at you and your beautiful self.
Right.
Even like I said, even if you're faking it till you make it, even if you truly may be I don't want to say the ugliest person alive, but I want to say basically, if you don't believe that yet, you don't, but you go into the mirror and you say, hey, look at you and your beautiful self. Ooh, I love the way you smile, right? I love the way you smile. And you keep on saying it over and over and over and over again. What happens is those things get drummed into your subconscious. And now that's the make it. That's the fake it before, and then that's the make it. And now, that's the make it. So check, I did have like a program, but I think this was good to kind of go into. I was going to go into the exercise that you had told me to say, but what's up? Where are you going to go with it?
Before we go into the next what you call it, the next little section, because I know you divided it so beautifully. So before we go into that, I do want to share a story that happened when in my early years in corporate America, that I felt that truly affected. If I would have let it, it would have really affected the power of my mind and my mindset. So when I first, like I mentioned, in my early years in corporate America, you know, I saw as a brown-skinned Latina woman, Afro-Latina woman, who's curvy, you know, the odds are already against me walking in to corporate America. So I got called to the HR department. HR manager said that someone said that the dress I was wearing was hugging my curves too much. Okay. So, of course, my first reaction, I was upset because how dare you, number one. Number two, I said something slick. I said, listen, like, I'm not shaped like SpongeBob. That is not my fault. And if you don't like my curve, don't look. But all that to say, I want to say maybe a week after that, I remember I wore another dress. And before even, I asked my mom, I'm like, does this look too short on me? Like, is this showing my curves too much? Do I look like extra? Do I look professional? Like, I was asking my mom those questions. Like, I've always been a confident person. I absolutely love my body. I wouldn't change anything about me. But I found myself asking those questions. And then I was like, I looked myself in the mirror and my mom looked at me and she said, don't you ever ask me that again. Like, you look amazing. Just how God made you. You do not need validation from anyone. And the same thing I said, if you want to look at your curves, don't look at you. They don't have to look at you. But all that to say, that's how much something can affect our mindset and our thoughts. Had I found that, it could have really crushed me. I could have easily quit. I could have easily been always doubting myself, insecure. I thank God that I have a strong mindset and that it takes a lot to break me. Of course, I'm human, so some things bother me, but it needs to take a lot of people to break me. But that easily could have turned out, like left really bad. So I hear that story, how powerful our mindsets are and what people say and do can affect us.
They had you almost second guessing your own self.
Okay, I was like,
guess yourself.
Then I was like, okay, snap out of it. They're just mad because they don't got curves.
Right. That's just from their perspective. A similar story. I remember when I was may have been 15, 16 years old. I was always had a way of getting in touch with my emotional side. I always talk about things I was passionate about. And I was on the phone with a young lady, and I think I was talking about the love for my grandma. I was like, yo, my grandmother's this and grandmother's that. And I was really going deep. And was on the phone with the young lady, and she said, you know, you're too dark to be that sensitive. I was like, see, something like that as a grown man, that wouldn't have shaken me. And I would have actually took that, I would have thought of some quick reply to say back or actually understand, embrace my sensitivity. But at that point, I didn't really understand what she was saying.
Wow.
She said, you're too dark to be that sensitive. And that's just playing off of the stereotype of, I guess, dark skins being more rough, light skins, they be the ones that licking their lips and doing the light skin eyes and all the other stereotypical things. But at that time, I remember I second guessed exposing my emotions, getting too deep. I remember like talking about those things that I love, and I started to go on my shell a little bit, and I wasn't being as vulnerable anymore. And I was like, okay, maybe women don't like a guy who's really sensitive, or women don't like a guy who talks about his feelings so much, or maybe I should do this. And thank God that it was early enough in my journey, I think maybe 14, 15, to where I was in a point where I was learning to embrace that part of myself. And it was something that I now wear with like pride. So when I'm going and I'm talking about my grandmother, I'm talking about the emotional side of things, or something I'm extremely passionate about, I'm saying, yes, I'm gonna wear that on my sleeve. But at that point in time, at that young boy's perspective, I was saying maybe women don't want to hear about that. Maybe I should talk to women a little more aggressively.
Yeah, that shook you a little bit. Wow. I was at least.
They say that once again.
I said that shook you a little bit. That was insensitive. Wow.
Yo, it was downright like, yo. And then once again, the way the people are projecting what they think in their mind on you, basically when they said about your curves and all that, basically that was her saying that I'm not used to a guy being openly about his emotions, but that was just based off of what she viewed as a real man or whatever. But that had nothing to do with me at all. Had nothing. And then when I got older, I think I don't know if I shared that with someone, but basically I came to the realization that that was her thing. That was her thing, and that wasn't my thing. And then another young lady, probably a very close friend of mine, I don't remember who, she affirmed my emotional side. And she told me, that's what I love about you, Josh. The same way your mom was like, don't you ever
Like,
second guess yourself. You know who you are, girl? Do you know who you are? And the same way my friend said to me, yo, I love you for your emotional side. Do you know guys don't talk about their emotions? Do you know guys are scared to talk about their family and the love for their grandmother? And in that thing, I kind of turned it back on. I said, whoa, no, thank you. Thank you.
Listen, the moment we realize that some people will project their insecurities on us is the moment that you truly gain your power, because it could go either two ways. You're either gonna drown in those thoughts and let that crush you, or you're gonna be like, no, that has nothing to do with me. What you think or what you feel is all within yourself. I still love every part of my body. I still love every part of my body. So your insecurities are yours. Keep them the hell over there. We're not here. So I think that's why it's so important to always work on yourself, because it's really easy to break someone who doesn't pray. It's easy to break someone who doesn't meditate, who doesn't work out, because working out and not even like, you know, for me, working out has become something that is just a mindset. Of course, we all we love to look good. We want to have the abs, the lifted booties. We want to look good, the toned arms, but working out is truly something for your mind. So it's easy to break someone who doesn't do all those things, who doesn't take care of their self-care and soul care daily. But when you come across somebody strong-minded, somebody who's full of faith and confidence, oh yeah, you can't break me. Nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
Just being sure of yourself. Just really being sure of yourself. And that's why I do really thank God for the parents out there who are affirming their kids from young, who let them know who they are. They let them know the greatness that's inside of them, so they don't have to go and look for validation later from a man or a woman later in life. Like, I know who I am based off what my mom told me, or based off what I believe. And that's kind of goes back to what this whole episode is about. Your mind, the power of your mind. You are what you actually believe you are. And in the second that you actually say, yes, I am this, yes, I am this, and you keep on repeating to yourself, or have them input in your subconscious from a child, you actually walk with that pride. And it's, and no, like you said, you're unshakable.
Yeah.
And constantly work with it too, and constantly keep that up.
Yeah, it takes maintenance. And people think that, oh yeah, I'm gonna work on myself for a year, I'm gonna be good for the next 5 years. No, it takes maintenance, and it takes sometimes it takes every hour that you need to work on yourself and reassure yourself. And you also mentioned something important about parents allowing their children, like reassuring their children. I also love seeing when kids are allowed to have boundaries. Primarily, my goddaughter, if she doesn't like something, she'll say it. At 6 years old, she'll say, oh no, I don't like that, or no, I don't want that person next to me. Like, she will say it, and I let her be free. Like, oh, you don't like that? Okay, you don't have to like that. Because I feel like when into children, they grow up into being insecure. They grow up into being closed off. they feel fearful of saying their likes and their dislikes.
Mm-hmm.
Could wrap that up. That's very important.
No, heck yeah, heck yeah, heck yeah. This is, for me, this is one of my favorite talks because it's so relevant to where I'm at right now in terms of coming to that place of peace, knowing the power of stillness, knowing the power of suggestion and repetition and everything in your mind. And we train our body every day, every day, every day. I remember when I started my workout journey, I said, I don't know where I got this from. Matter of fact, I do know where I got this from. It came from a book. I want to give credit where credit's due, all right? It was a book called The Slight Edge. By maybe I think Joel Osteen, right? And I read that maybe when I was very young, The Slight Edge. And he basically said, yeah, he said, listen, if you just dedicate yourself to 0.3% effort every day, at the end of the year, you'll get to 100% at the end of the year. So you have 365 days in a year. You break it down, and just putting 0.3% every day, you'll get there. So long story short, it's the little grinds, the little disciplines that mirrors you telling yourself that you're beautiful. So for me, with the workout, I translate that into 10 push-ups. I said, hey, if I can learn to do 10 push-ups every day, I can train my brain to work out daily. And it wasn't about the 10 push-ups, because now if you just do 10 push-ups, you're not going to grow really big muscles and all that. But what happened, what it did, it trained my brain to get down and do something every day. So I did 10 push-ups this day, 10 push-ups this day. I think I probably messed up one day, but I got right back on it. 10 push-ups, 10 push-ups, 10 push-ups. And then what happened was I used to do them every time I used to get in the shower, right? So my little shower mat reminded me of my 10 push-ups. So, I mean, I take a shower every day, so I'm doing push-ups every day, right? So literally, I would do it every day, every day, every day. Then when I'm down there doing 10 push-ups, then I get to a point where I started doing 20, right? But I never did less than 10, never did less than 10. So now next day, I eventually get up to maybe doing 50 push-ups, but I never did less than 10, never did less than 10. So now, since I probably started, I did have an intermission when I fractured my foot, but prior to that, I don't miss a day without doing at least 10 push-ups. Like literally, I don't care if I'm sick. It's almost my brain is trained whenever I see a shower mat, and I can even be in my mom's house. This morning, I took a shower and I saw my mom's shower mat, and I got down and did 10 push-ups. That's the power of programming my mind where I can't even stop it now, even if I tried to do it. And that leads me on the next thing, the exercises you gave me earlier this week. You was basically sharing exercise that you had got from one of the groups that you were with that was so powerful. I'm learning how to keep that consistent. I haven't made it through the whole 5 days, but
start over.
Yeah, you gave me a challenge. You gave me a challenge, and you gave me a challenge to just write out the things that you want on it. You want to just elaborate on that real quick?
Sure. So,
and where'd you get that from? Because that was a beautiful thing.
Actually, I got that from my coach. I am a part of this wonderful business women community. It's like alpha females, Black, brown, and Hispanic women. I mean, we're open to everyone, but that's like our main focus, right? And we focus on healing and just growing and working on our businesses and bouncing off ideas from each other. And we're all in one group because of our coach. We all have the same coach, who's amazing. Shout out to Samia. And she gave me an exercise. She told me to write down for 5 days straight, 55 times, how much money I want to make in my business. And it not only teaches you to be consistent, but you truly start to believe it. And you start to feel so grateful for having that amount of money, whatever you write down. You start to feel so grateful for having, even if you don't have that money in your pockets yet, even if you haven't even sales, even if you haven't even met those clients, but you start believing it. And once you start believing, you start doing it. And once you start doing it, you start attracting more and more of it.
Say that.
So the exercise, and anyone can do it. It's not just only for us, since we're in the business industry, us as business owners, but anyone can do it. Whatever you want out of life, write it down. For this specific exercise, we wrote it down for 55 times for 5 days straight. And if you miss a day, you have to start over. So it taught me consistency. Like, I did not miss a day. Actually, my sister's in the audience. There was one night that I was like, oh my God, it's 10:45 p.m. And it was like day 4. I said, there is no way that I am starting from day 1 all over again. And that's the same way, because like, let's say you're one sale away from making $1 million in your business. Are you going to go to sleep? or you're gonna make sure that you make that so you can hit that $1 million mark.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wow, it was just really powerful, and it just lifted my mind so much. And I'm super grateful for that. So I am sharing it with all my family and my friends, because we don't gatekeep over here, okay? We all gonna win.
Yo, and thank you for that. That's the 10 push-ups a day, essentially. That's the 10 push-ups a day. So where literally you just get it in. I remember with the 10 push-ups a day, there was a time where I was probably like, I just didn't want to do it. I was tired. It was 11:58. I was like, damn, I got to get it. And I just literally got down and said, I'm going to learn something in that. 10 push-ups. I was like, here, God, I did it. You know what I mean? I did it. You just kind of.
It's like a healthy obsession, right? Like,
yeah, train your brain.
How to do it. Specifically for me, one of my favorite workout programs with the company my sister and I partnered with, formerly known as Beachbody, now we're Body, BODI. It's like everybody is Beachbody. That's why they changed their name. So one of my top favorite program with them, and it came out in 2018, is 80-Day Obsession. When I completed that program, and it just completely turned me into a brand new person. I was committed for 80 days straight. And the first round I did it, life threw some crazy curveballs. My family and I suffered back-to-back losses, the death of my aunt and uncle. So it tested me. I was like, okay, am I gonna break right now? And I had like, I think 2 weeks left when my aunt and uncle passed away. So we had to fly out to Puerto Rico. I was still doing 80-Day Obsession, but it just taught me how strong and how dedicated and disciplined I am. And let's forget motivation, because I tell people, don't depend on motivation, because you will never accomplish anything if you strictly depend on that. Like, there's no way, no one can sit here and say, I wake up every single day motivated. There's days I don't want to do nothing. I wake up and, okay, you got to fake it till you make it. You got to keep affirming yourself. You got to keep being positive. You got to keep praying. You can have motivation. But when you're disciplined and when you're committed to yourself, you're truly unstoppable. Push-ups, and it reminded me of that workout program.
Yo, it's about training the brain. Training the brain. Yo, I went to church last Sunday, right? And I was thinking, I put a note. I said, going to church, shouting, praising God, praying, dancing for God, right? Belief in the overflow and infinite God. So when you go to church, right? And they be like, you will win. And they basically, no, seriously, they're affirming you. Mad hard. You're talking to like almost your subconscious. You're repeating it over and over again. They're saying these things that you, and then you're believing it so much, you're dancing with it. So now you're dancing, and now you're saying, I will win, and you're crying out to God and all that. That's powerful. I'm waving to everyone who's just pulling up. But that's powerful. Like, literally, the repetition of it, the spirituality of shouting it and all this other thing, those are all part of training your brain. And take it even deep. I think when you are interacting with your conscious and your subconscious, you're talking to an aspect of God. You know, God exists in us, around us, and everything. So you're talking to that part that knows you better than you know yourself. You're talking to that part that's your inner child. You're talking to that part that's listening, and without even knowing it's listening. The part that keeps the memory. It keeps the memory of those things you say. So even when you say bad things to yourself, someone told me, they said, don't even finish a bad sentence to yourself. If you're in the middle of a bad sentence, stop right there. Because what happens if you let it come out your mouth, you now fed that to your subconscious. It kept a memory of it, and you didn't even know it.
My sister tells me that all the time. Whenever I'm about to say something, she's like, don't even do it. I'm like, all right.
Don't even do it.
Go there. You know, we all have our moments. We're human, but again, it's the power of the mind. You have to learn how to control those thoughts. Also, like when we're saying cuss words, there's signs that you're like, you know how, I mean, like, if I repeat myself one more time, I'm gonna add cuss words. So I don't want to repeat myself. But you also have to train yourself. So it's like, okay, all right, relax, no cuss words, you know.
Another thing that I thought about, it's really deep, but it's really beautiful for all of us, right? If you know that you're about to do something, right, and you have decided that you're just going to do it, you know how, like, let's be honest with ourselves, sometimes we know that we're about to get into something, right? With me, it used to be with women. I remember I would go into the thing, like, wait, I'm sorry, you have blanked out. What? Say it again? I
said sometimes we know we're getting into something that we have no business getting into. Like,
no business getting into.
And then we're like, oh, here, on our way.
Yo, but the brain is so powerful. Once I've decided that once I go into that room, such and such is going to go down, I have already decided before I went into there that I have an outcome. That's pretty powerful. That's literally, in terms of manifestation, that's saying I already know what the outcome is, so I'm just going to just let it play out. That's the same way when you say to yourself, I am this, I am that, I am that. I know the outcome. Similar to the exercise you said, I wrote down, I said, I am happy. I'm so happy and I'm grateful that I'm making $8,000 in my trading business. Right. And I wrote that, like I said, 55 times. And I said, I am so happy and I'm grateful that I am making $8,000 a month in my trading business. And I kept on writing.
Yeah, it's almost like your hand just continues writing it by itself. It's like, because you start believing it and you're like, ooh, I'm making 8 G's a month in my business. And you start planning with this money. You know, you're super grateful for this money. Oh, man, our minds,
what it
powerful thing.
Is I know the outcome before it actually happens. I'm telling you the outcome before that actually plays itself out. That's manifestation. So when I used to go into that room with these ladies, and regardless of what I think I should be doing, I said, yo, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to start kissing her. I'm going to start doing whatever. Regardless of how it's supposed to play out, I've already decided the outcome. Versus you going into the room and saying, yo, hey, I know everybody's in there drinking. I decided I'm not going to drink. I've made up my mind before I even walk in the door, right? If you don't make up your mind what the outcome is before you walk in the door, you're susceptible to whatever happens. Your brain will follow the auto suggestions in the room, but in the other way, your brain will follow what you tell it to follow. If you say, I'm not going to do this, or I can see, it's like the Matrix. I see the games they're playing. I know every time I get around this person, I feel a certain way. I know every time I see this person, I feel like doing a certain thing. And I'm going to say, you can make the choice to not be around it, or you can just be strong enough to say, I know the game plan at play already, and I'm not going to fall victim to it. But if you don't have the game plan, or if you don't know what the outcome is, your brain is like putty. It goes wherever.
Yeah.
But also the power of the brain is saying, I know what's going to happen, and I'm going to watch it play out.
That is so true. Yeah, it's like if you don't train it correctly, you'll fold every time.
Man.
Every single time. Because it's almost, have you noticed even when you're telling yourself, no, I'm not going to do it, I feel like there's this like little, because you know, it's that little evil voice in the back of your head saying, are you sure you're not going to do it? It's like, so it's shut up because I trained you, I'm in control. No, I'm not doing it. But it's almost testing you. And it's the point that you're like, well, let me show you. Yeah, I am going to do it. Like, I'm not scared. But it's like, no, I've trained myself. I'm going to stay disciplined and committed to myself, committed to my word. I'm not going to. It's all about training, discipline.
Yeah. Well, now, imagine, just kind of piggyback over that. Imagine if you didn't even have that talk before you walked in and that suggestion came up. That would be the first suggestion. So it would seem like the right suggestion.
Yeah.
But really, when it's something in your brain tells you to do it, but you've had the conversation right that you're not going to do it, now it's combating that. But if you have nothing to combat, I didn't decide that I'm not going to do it. When something says do it, I'm just going to kind of do it because that seems like my brain just kind of going with it. It's okay. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's called flesh.
Temptation. Yo, this is the greatest talk ever. Yo, share this with somebody you know. Share this. I should have said that at the beginning because I knew this was going to be a great talk. But share this live with people you know. We're just talking about the power of the mind, how beautiful or how insidious it can be. And basically, you are what you believe you are, or until you decide something, basically, your brain will kind of follow through. We're talking about how powerful that is. We talked about basically. Say it again. One more time.
Your brain and your body will follow through because they're more connected than we actually realize. Whatever you're thinking, it affects your gut, your belly. It affects the whole body. They're all good.
Absolutely. Yo, so it takes us to our next part. I was saying now in terms of like just solution-based, right? In terms of those things that we have been implanted in our brain, the things that whether it could be negative or positive, but let's just discuss the negative things. The negative things that we have been implanted in our brains, we have been told over and over and over and over again. What is some of the things that you would change about yourself? Like right now in real time, what are some things that you even been told that you are, or some things that you really honestly believe about yourself that you need to change?
Okay, so let's start off with something that I've been told that I would not change about myself. And I made a post about this, I think last week. Growing up, I was told that I was a little like conceited or too much. And I will not change that about myself because I think that they just took it the wrong way. And again, it goes back to they're projecting their insecurities on me. I'm not conceited. I'm not too much. I'm dope. I'm confident, and it is what it is. Period. Something that I would change about myself. Sometimes wait a minute, let me think about this. Because I really love myself. But I'm not perfect. I'm not one of those people that I'm like, I'm perfect. Sometimes, well, I guess this is in the past. I feel like I used to give people too many chances in the past. And I learned to change that about myself. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to shut you out completely. But now my boundaries are so great. Like me and my boundaries have such a great relationship. So I guess like even like a year ago, I would have changed that about myself. But now I'm good. Now I'm not to change that. Now I don't play about me. I don't play about my boundaries. So now you're not getting another chance. You already showed me with your patterns, and it is what it is. Call it a day. So yeah, I think that's my response.
I like that. I remember there was one time, and I wouldn't consciously actually say that, but I thought I was stuck in New York. I thought that like you wouldn't leave New York. I remember saying, shout out to Jen, shout out to Dancing Taste Buds. I shared something with her that she thought was freaking hilarious. I told her, I said, you know, the old self said that, I had to say because I've learned that.
You already changed it, right?
I've definitely changed my thinking, but I shared an old thinking that I had. I said, you know, if I could just own a place in Pelham Manor, right, I'd be set. Pelham Manor is a prestigious part of the Bronx. It's literally not too far from the hood, but it's literally where houses are nice and there's manicured lawns. And I thought that was like sky's the limit. I said that to Jen, and she just laughed at me. She said, you know, if you would still think like that, you couldn't even be my friend. I was like, wow. But basically she was saying, if that's your limit, and not saying that, shout out to everyone who lives in Pelham Manor, whoever has a house, owns, that's a beautiful property. It's a beautiful place to be. But in terms of setting your limitations at that, this girl right now is in DR living her best life, growing her business, and she's living like yo, shout out to you. Like she's out there living, like pushing the limits, finding out new ceilings. And she heard me say, hey, I said, if I could just pretty much own a house in Pelham Manor, I'd be sitting. I thought I was saying something.
You thought that was sky's the limit.
I thought
like,
that
high, sky high.
And I said it proudly too, and she looked at me. She said, "Yo, if you still thought like that, basically, I couldn't be a friend." But what she was saying, basically, like, okay, she never thought about outside the country. Where have you been? Have you ever seen what? You say he really did though. Chill. She's. And I was dead serious too for a second, but no, so short. In understanding my potential. Understanding that life is bigger than the Bronx, life is bigger than New York, right? Or the potential that exists inside of me. Sometimes we don't even think that being wealthy is possible.
Especially in our community, absolutely.
Everyone we know, we don't know many people who make over 100K. So if someone says to make $500,000, we can't. What? $500,000 to $500,000 a year? Do you know that's like so far out there for people because people haven't even seen people eclipse something? So they settle for jobs that they don't really want, or the fact that they're just making more than their friends.
Right. Which is crazy.
But that's life for people. They're like, okay, if I know all my friends are making $30,000, $40,000, I get a job at $50,000. Oh, I'm doing all right. But that was the limiting belief that I had. And that comes from exposure, perspective, and being around people who are like doing better, showing examples, and also just belief in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to be stagnant. It's funny you mentioned that because that's almost like you know how people are always like, oh, I'm gonna blow a bag in Miami. I said, you don't want to go to Europe? You know, it's like, you just want to, ain't nothing wrong with Miami, right? Like, shout out to Florida. I'm gonna be in Florida at the end of the week, but I'm not going to Miami. I'm going for business. But it's almost like, you want to go to Miami again? Go to Europe. Go to Paris. Go to Italy. I tell people all the time, the same money you spent in Vegas and ATL and in Miami, you can have the time of your life flying to Europe, flying to a whole nother country, meeting new people, building new connections, exploring, and just getting to know new cultures. But you want to go to Miami again?
Again?
No, man, like, and some people look at me like, oh yeah, she's too conceited because she's been there. No, call it what you want. I'm gonna continue going to all these places because there's so much more out there. And once you step out of that stagnant mindset, you really, again, another form of you becoming unstoppable.
Man, listen, I think it's about your friends too. If you got 5 broke friends, you're gonna be the 6th one. Trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
You're gonna feel
that's
real cool. You're gonna feel real cool for a little bit because you're like, oh yeah, I'm in this crew. They're all broke. I'm broke, but I'm not the brokest. But I'm still broke. Like, that sounds crazy.
You actually normalize brokenness, and you don't realize that there's nothing wrong with it. Same way, if you got 5 friends who are all owning real estate or busting moves in that kind of way, you gonna mess around and own some real estate. You're gonna mess around and find a way to get a house.
Absolutely.
So it's about your environment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Power of the brain.
Absolutely. Wow, this has been such a great conversation.
Fire that. Yo, we
really,
what we're doing, we're building the brand of We Need Each Other podcast, and we want to really have this as a funnel where people come to We Need Each Other podcast and they see all the episodes and they can kind of get them all in one place. And we're still going to go live on our personal accounts, the same way Kayla's on her personal account. Next week, Kayla will be live on the We Need Each Other podcast page, and I'll be on my personal account.
He didn't mean next week. He meant in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'm sorry. Next show. Excuse me. Next show. I'm already amped to get back to y'all guys. But next show. And also, I'm happy we are live on all public podcast platforms, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to Deezer and those other places. So you can definitely catch all of our shows live as you're driving, and you can listen to them as well as check us out on YouTube. And I'm so grateful for our growth.
Our growth. We are growing and glowing, and it's only up from here. We have so much more in store. So supporting and keep being a part of our family. We appreciate you all. We're truly so grateful.
This is fire. Yeah. Okay, I want to end. I saw a scripture that they said in when I was at church, and it once again it happened to do what we're talking about, and that's how God be guiding conversations. Like, once we pick whatever the podcast topic's gonna be, I see it in every way. That's the power of the brain. Now the pastor's talking about it. Now you give me exercise. I'm like, yo, the power of the brain, the power of the brain. I'm looking for solutions. Long story short, it was Philippians 4, chapter 4 and 5. It said, let greatness be evident. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. That means just basically tell them what's on your heart. Tell them what's in your heart. And they said, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guide your hearts and your mind in Christ Jesus. For me, in terms of get in tune with that inner part of yourself, they say lay it down on the altar. Tell them what your fears are. Tell them and really talk to your subconscious. Talk to the God inside of you. That's what I got for that. Then it went on and said, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about those things. And then ended by saying, whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you.
That part.
That's the highest of yourself. Put it into practice. Think the highest of yourself. Good. I'm sorry. I need to learn how to just put a period on stuff. Good.
No, go ahead. No, I love that. The put it into practice. That alone is so powerful, and it reminds me of you reap what you sow. You know, put it into practice. Go out there and do what you're supposed to be doing. And you mentioned something that it said, come to me, like God saying, come to me. And for some people who find it difficult, I always tell them, well, he already knows your fears. He already knows what you're thinking. He already knows your doubts. He knows your insecurities. He knows what makes you happy, what you want, what you deserve, what you don't deserve. Like, he knows it all. Just go to him. Even in those moments that you don't dare to, he already knows. He's just waiting for you to come. So thank you for sharing that. That was powerful. That was really, really powerful.
Boop, boop, boop. Shout out to everyone who's pulling up. Let me just wave to everyone real quick.
Thank you. Our number one supporter, man.
Yo, number one. There's nobody better. Nobody better. I know a couple people think they have competition, and we do have some great supporters, but I would like to say our number one supporter definitely does. Yo, shout out to you, Jen. I love you too. You definitely up there, like top 3, but Jazz, we appreciate you on more levels than one. This has been another. Again, I'm sorry. Every time I start talking, what you say?
We have practice. No, I was just saying, shout out to everyone who joined and everyone who joins every episode. I love hearing the feedback. I love the love and the support. I just love it all, and we truly appreciate each and every one of you guys. So thank you, and thank you.
This has been another amazing episode of We Need Each Other podcast. We thank you for logging in. We thank you for all your love.
Wait, before you go. No. Yeah, what are you grateful for?
Okay, yeah, I'll forget that. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yes. In this moment right now, I'm grateful for this weather. I'm grateful for clean air, for the simple things, but specifically clean air, this calming weather, and those birds that are chirping in my background right now. I don't even know if that's a bird. It might be a cricket, but whatever. Those things that are chirping in my back right now that's giving me that serene and calmness. I'm like, grateful. I'm
bird, but you grateful.
I'm grateful. In this moment, what are you grateful for right now, girl?
I posted about this earlier. I am grateful for answered prayers. I am living in my answered prayers. This week is such an eventful week for me. I'm flying out at the end of the week. Then I come home. I'm home for literally 48 hours, then flying out again. I am just super grateful for life and grateful for the things I used to pray for that I have now. And all the... Shout out to God.
Shout out to God. You're going to end our podcast like that. Shout out to God.
Oh, we have my friend from Greece. We are international. We have the Greece. Hello. I hope all is well.
Yes. Yo, once again, shout out to everyone. Yo, this has been awesome. This has really been awesome. And if you're not following We Need Each Other podcast, tap in because we're on great things. And stay tuned for our next show. Love to all. Go ahead. You want to find the words? Go ahead.
No,
say something to the people.
No, he's just saying hi, hello. No, I was just going to say, I was just, supporting what you were saying. That's it. Echoing what you were saying. Follow us. Things in store. And we are literally growing every single day. So be a part of our family.
Amen. Till next time.
Next time.
Dun, dun, dun.